Hey, Raiders fans. It is time to break down everything happening with our beloved Las Vegas Raiders as we head deeper into the season. The roller coaster ride continues. And if you have been following the team closely, you already know that it has not been an easy stretch. This year has been rough, no sugarcoating it. The Raiders are sitting at a 2-10 record. And at this stage of the season, there are some serious conversations to be had about what is coming next. I want to take a deep dive into why, from every angle you can look at, this team is on track to land a top 2 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. We're going to break down schedules, analyze matchups, and look at the teams surrounding us in the draft order. By the end of this, you will understand exactly why the Raiders, despite all the heartbreak, are in a unique position to rebuild strategically. First off, let's talk about the Raiders' remaining schedule. Honestly, it is a brutal stretch, and I don't see any scenario where the team manages to snag another win. If you're looking at the games coming up, the only glimmer of a winnable matchup might be against the New York Giants in Week 17. Every other game, whether it is Denver, Philadelphia, Houston, or the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 18, is going to be a challenge that the Raiders are simply not built to overcome right now. And I know saying this is tough for any fan. I am not someone who roots for failure, and I am certainly not advocating tanking. But the reality is this roster has struggled all season, and the numbers do not lie. At this point, the team is likely to finish with a record that will place it squarely in the top picks of the upcoming draft. And while losing is never fun, this outcome could set up a critical opportunity, a chance to attract a new head coach who can come in and shape the future of this franchise. Now, looking at the other teams at the top of the draft order, the Titans are a big part of the conversation. They have had a more challenging schedule overall, and even though the Raiders managed to beat Tennessee earlier in the season, the strength of schedule comes into play when determining draft positions. If the Raiders and Titans were to finish with identical records, the Raiders would jump ahead because of the way these tiebreakers work. And that makes Week 17 even more critical because the Titans' remaining games include tough matchups like San Francisco and Kansas City, which makes it unlikely that they will rack up many more wins. So, from a strategic standpoint, the Raiders are positioned to claim a top pick without needing to manipulate anything. The schedule itself does the work. Moving over to the New York Giants, who are currently projected to pick second in the draft, they have a winnable stretch as well, but it is still questionable how many victories they will secure. Their schedule features teams like Washington and Minnesota, both of which present opportunities, yet the Giants have struggled to maintain consistency. When you project the potential outcomes, it seems likely they could win a game or two, but the Raiders' position remains strong because of the remaining games and the overall difficulty of their schedule compared to the Giants. The Giants are certainly capable of defeating the Raiders in Week 17, but even so, the Raiders' season trajectory keeps them in the top 2 discussion. The New Orleans Saints are another team to consider, projected to pick third if the draft were happening today. Their schedule has its own challenges with tough division matchups and inter-conference games that could swing either way. But the Raiders' slate is by far the most difficult of any of these teams. That is the fundamental reason why, as of right now, the Raiders are in a prime position to secure a top 2 pick. And looking at the bigger picture, this means that whoever comes in as the next head coach will have a significant opportunity to shape the team's future, particularly if the front office is considering a quarterback as a foundational piece moving forward. With the top picks, the Raiders can realistically target that position and have the flexibility to bring in a young, high-upside player who could develop under a new system. And that brings us to the core of this analysis. The Raiders are not just at the bottom by circumstance. They are at the bottom because of the combination of talent gaps, scheduled difficulty, and competitive matchups that make victory scarce. Even though the team has had flashes in the past, the current roster is set up in a way that makes winning the remaining games highly unlikely. This is not a statement of pessimism, but a reality check that highlights why the draft positioning is so important. Every game that passes solidifies the Raiders' draft standing. And for fans looking toward the future, this can be a silver lining. The ability to pick near the top allows for strategic rebuilding with high-value players who can change the trajectory of the franchise. As we continue to examine the situation, It is clear that Week 17 will be the pivotal moment of the season for the Raiders. That matchup against the Giants will not only influence draft positioning, but also provide a final glimpse at the team's capabilities under the current coaching regime. And while it is never easy to confront the idea of losses stacking up, the truth is that this season is more about positioning than winning. The structure of the NFL draft and the remaining schedule combine to make the Raiders' spot near the top inevitable unless a series of unlikely upsets occurs. The Titans, the Saints, and the Giants each have hurdles in their remaining schedules that will likely prevent them from overtaking the Raiders in the standings, further reinforcing the Raiders' advantage in securing a prime draft pick. Looking ahead, this situation has broader implications. Any new head coach who steps in will inherit a team positioned to rebuild from a high-value draft pick. That player, potentially a quarterback, could become the cornerstone of the next era for Las Vegas. The combination of strategic draft positioning, a challenging schedule that naturally limits wins, and the timing of these outcomes means the Raiders are set up for a critical moment of transition. For fans, it is a season to watch closely, not just for wins or losses, but for the opportunities that arise from this unique positioning. Now, as we move deeper into the discussion about the Las Vegas Raiders, it becomes impossible not to focus on what this top 2 draft positioning really means for the future of the team. Every fan knows that the NFL is a league built on cycles. Teams rise, fall, and rebuild. For the Raiders, this moment is more than just a bad season. It is a chance to reset, to bring in talent that can shape the franchise for years to come. With 5 games left on the schedule, every remaining matchup becomes a lens to evaluate the team's strengths, weaknesses, and most importantly, the potential for improvement through the draft. The Raiders' struggles are evident in every stat, every game recap, and every moment on the field, but those very struggles now translate into an opportunity that the organization cannot afford to overlook. Looking at the rest of the schedule, it's clear why Week 17 is the crown jewel of the season for draft implications. That game against the New York Giants is more than just a battle on the scoreboard. It is the defining moment that could determine whether the Raiders secure the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft. The Giants, while flawed in their own right, are a team still fighting for positioning, and their motivation could be the difference maker in that game. But even with all of that in mind, the Raiders' record and the strength of their opponents make it extremely unlikely that a win will come out of any of the remaining matchups. Denver has been consistent. Philadelphia remains one of the toughest teams in the league. Houston is building momentum, and Kansas City is a powerhouse that is not showing signs of slowing down. Each game presents a challenge that the Raiders, in their current state, are simply not prepared to overcome. When you examine the Titans, their season has been marked by inconsistency despite some flashes of brilliance. They are still in the mix for a top draft pick, but their remaining schedule is grueling. Matches against San Francisco, Kansas City, and New Orleans create an environment where even a team with talent like the Titans cannot reliably secure victories. This is where the Raiders' position becomes more evident. The combination of past wins, overall record, and schedule difficulty puts them in a unique spot. Even if the Titans and Raiders were to end up with the same record, the Raiders would gain an edge because of the way the NFL calculates tiebreakers. That's the beauty of the system for a team in the Raiders' position. The top 2 pick is not only likely, it is practically guaranteed. The Saints and Giants are also part of this equation. New Orleans has had a tough season, and while they have opportunities to win, the Raiders' schedule remains the hardest in comparison. The Giants, projected as the 2nd pick in today's hypothetical draft order, have a slightly easier path but are still battling for wins. Week 15 and 16 present winnable games, but consistency has been the Giants' biggest issue. When Week 17 comes around, the Raiders face the Giants, and the matchup will be decisive for both teams' draft futures. While the Giants have motivation, the Raiders' challenges all season long have set them up in a position where their draft prospects remain strong, regardless of a single-game outcome. The implications of this top 2 pick extend far beyond the draft itself. A new head coach stepping in will have the opportunity to make foundational decisions for the franchise, and having access to a high-value draft selection, potentially at quarterback, is a game-changing advantage. The team can pick a player who not only addresses immediate needs, but also becomes a building block for the next era. This scenario is particularly exciting because it combines the inevitability of draft positioning with the strategic opportunity to shape the roster for the long term. A franchise quarterback, a cornerstone player, or even multiple high-impact additions can emerge from this pick, giving the Raiders a chance to pivot from a struggling season to a promising future. Looking at the broader picture, the Raiders' season has been defined by challenges, missed opportunities, and hard lessons, but all of these factors now translate into a unique window for the team. It is a season where losses, while painful, are part of a larger narrative, a narrative that leads directly into strategic rebuilding. Fans may not enjoy the losses, but understanding the implications can turn frustration into anticipation. This is about preparing for the future, creating flexibility, and making decisions that will influence the team's trajectory for years to come. The top 2 pick is more than a consolation. It is a strategic tool that allows the franchise to regain competitiveness in the NFL, potentially faster than anyone could have imagined at the start of the season. Moreover, the remaining games provide insight into potential roster moves, evaluations of current players, and opportunities to test younger talent. Coaches and staff can assess performance under challenging circumstances, which is critical for identifying leaders, breakout players, and areas that need improvement. The Raiders' position in the draft is just one aspect of a multifaceted rebuilding plan, but it is the most visible and impactful piece at this moment. Week by week, the team can focus on developing talent while understanding that the ultimate reward, draft positioning, is already within reach. And while it is difficult for fans to see the team struggle game after game, the long-term perspective is what matters most. A new head coach coming in will inherit a team ready to make pivotal decisions. The combination of a high draft pick, a clear understanding of strengths and weaknesses, and an opportunity to shape the future of the roster sets the stage for significant change. Whether it is selecting a quarterback, reinforcing the defensive line, or acquiring versatile playmakers, the Raiders have a unique chance to reset the franchise with strategic precision. The remaining games are not just about wins or losses. They're about evaluating the path forward, maximizing draft value, and preparing for a brighter future. This is why, looking at the Raiders' current situation, there is genuine reason to be both cautious and optimistic. The season has been challenging, no question about that. But from a strategic perspective, it has positioned the team for a potential turning point. With careful planning, smart draft decisions, and the right coaching hire, the Raiders can transform a difficult year into the foundation for long-term success. Week 17 will be pivotal. The draft order is taking shape, and the focus now shifts to preparation, strategy, and opportunity. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers around the NFL universe are reaching a fever pitch as rumors suggest that Odell Beckham Jr., the mercurial wide receiver known for both his highlight reel catches and headline-grabbing moments off the field, may be on the verge of a sensational move to the Las Vegas Raiders. Sources, not yet confirmed by the teams themselves, hint that talks have progressed further than anyone anticipated, and that the silver and black could soon welcome one of the league's most electrifying talents. The potential arrival of Beckham in Las Vegas has sent shockwaves through locker rooms and social media alike. Fans are buzzing at the mere thought of his dynamic presence joining a Raiders squad already hungry to shake up the standings. The speculation alone is enough to dominate water cooler chatter, with analysts debating everything from playbook adjustments to the chemistry he could forge with the Raiders quarterback. His reputation as a game-changer precedes him. When healthy and focused, Beckham has the ability to turn even a middling drive into a highlight-filled spectacle, something the Raiders' offense could desperately use. Insiders suggest the motivation behind this rumored signing is mutual. The Raiders are looking to inject star power and elite skill into their receiving core, while Beckham, ever the showman and competitor, may be seeking a fresh stage to showcase his talent and rekindle the form that once made him a household name. Vegas, with its bright lights and high-stakes energy, seems almost tailor-made for Beckham's flair, both on and off the field. Social media fans are already crafting fantasy scenarios of Beckham stretching defenses, leaping over defenders, and delivering the kind of jaw-dropping plays that made him a global sensation. Of course, skeptics remain. Questions about consistency, durability, and off-field distractions are never far behind the headlines whenever Beckham's name comes up. Yet, the rumor mill refuses to quiet down, and whispers in the league suggest the Raiders' front office is seriously intrigued. If these whispers prove true, the NFL landscape could be dramatically altered. Rival teams are reportedly already analyzing potential defensive schemes to contain a receiver with Beckham's unique blend of speed, agility, and unpredictability. For now, the chatter dominates the narrative, and fans in Las Vegas and beyond are left speculating, dreaming, and debating the possibilities. Could Beckham's rumored arrival ignite a Raiders resurgence? Will his presence redefine their offensive identity? One thing is certain. If this rumor crystallizes into reality, the NFL world will be watching every move with bated breath. Until then, the buzz continues, echoing across the league like a tantalizing promise of what might be. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.